Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. We're back. They still can't hear you. Only me. Now they can hear you.
Can they really hear me though?
For real this time.
All right.
I mean, I'm not shocked there's no Avalanche retheme, but I'm also kind of upset there's not though. Like, I
Well, we
wasn't.
don't know. We don't know that for sure.
I think they would have announced that along with this if
I think they would have announced a new coaster,
they would have marketed it as a new coaster.
a new mock bobsled coaster.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You thought these were out of out of date and nobody was buying them anymore, but nope.
It scares me though. If they don't retheme it, it makes me feel like its days might be numbered.
Or they're just
That's true. That's
lazy.
a good point. Zapple wasn't announced with Timbers. Wait, was it? No.
I don't think it was announced, but we knew about it. I think we were told about it. Like I don't think it was a part of the actual announcement. But it became pretty like we knew about it because they started talking about the whole 40th anniversary retheme of Candy Apple Grove and everything. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna start right into it because we have the rundown ready for once, and I have a bit of time constraints, so that's why we're recording at 3 in the afternoon instead of 9 o'clock at night. So, without further ado, are you ready, Bob?
Yep.
You got everything set right, audio wise. We're good.
Seems like it.
Alrighty, good. Jazz hands. um,
3, 2.
and
Oh
we.
wait, hold up. I'm an idiot.
Okay.
Okay, now for real. 3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to another week of Coaster Talk podcast. This is episode number 133 of the show. It is August 15th, 2021. Of course, I'm James.
And I'm Bob.
Bob is back. He's back
I am.
in the flesh. Yeah, so
With a little bit of sunburn.
yeah, you
But
went on a big
okay.
beach vacation. You parasailed, right?
Yes. Piper and I went parasailing.
Yeah, that
That
looked
was
awesome.
actually really fun.
So it's not necessarily amusement park related, but it is recreational, entertainment. So how was that? I've always wanted to do that
It was
activity, that
actually really
sport.
cool.
Mm.
It was seriously cool. The fun thing about it was I was deciding when I woke up that morning whether I should just wear like shorts and t-shirt or whether I should wear swim shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing was, like, it was whether we were going to be dipped in the water. Piper was absolutely not. We're not going to. No. Okay, so I wore shorts. Guess what happened when we got on the boat?
Uh
Piper decided, hey, I think we should get dipped.
huh.
So, yeah, I was soaking wet until we got back to to the beach house. But it was worth it. It was really fun.
And
Of course, the real thrill seeker in me is like, this would be a really cool drop tower if they found a way to suspend it, like, like,
yeah,
like if some way to drop you out of it.
that would be nice. Yeah, that would be very nice. All right, Bob. Well, it's time to get into some news because we have some stories that finally come to light. So we had a story with King's Dominion. We've been following all of these announcement and teases that they've been delivering to us via Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, all of these different videos and the coordinates they've been sending out. And we finally now know what this is
What
all
we knew
about.
all along.
What we knew all along, yeah. I mean, this is basically the two things that me and Bob both were saying was going to happen, both kind of happened in one big announcement. So Bob was thinking this would be a larger retheme of that like Nook, that area, Safari Village. So that's where the crypt was, where Volcano was, where Avalanche now is. Um, even you still think over by Anaconda possibly might be touched up, right?
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I think that's. I mean, it kind of is included, and I think like. I mean, the whole point of this theme is that they don't really have to redecorate a lot
Yeah, they
because it
don't.
still
It's
kind
kind
of
of cheating.
fits the. It's like yeah. I mean, and it's kind of what I was expecting. I mean, it wouldn't have surprised me if they would have come up with something totally different, but I was kind of, like, this is you can kind of, especially when the first coordinates were posted, I kind of was like, yeah,
Hmm.
this is gonna remain some type of jungle theme. It's gonna be a different theme, but jungle theme of some sort.
Yeah.
And my whole thought process was like they need more cohesiveness between the like all of the
Yeah.
rides.
Yeah.
But we still don't know about Avalanche. We don't know if it's going to be rethemed or not,
It doesn't.
and I'm
Yeah.
really hoping it will, but
It doesn't. Based
we
on
don't.
my interpretation of this, it doesn't look like it. They've really not really necessarily stated one way or the other, but I mean, I think that would be something they would market as like, oh, and announce that as not a new ride, but like a new experience because oh, it's not Avalanche anymore. It's fill in the blank, whatever they would call it. Some people are talking about theming it to a snake because it kind of maneuvers like a snake as a bobsled, which I think is actually a good theme. But then they got Anaconda already, so
The Travis mentioned in our chat about the banana sled, and I love that idea. I absolutely love that idea. Like you're in a banana
yeah,
going down like tree limbs or something.
sure, whatever,
Um,
yeah.
and one thing that Zachary actually said in our chat is he mentioned that Apple's Apple wasn't announced at the same time Timbers was.
Hmm.
So that so it's not necessarily the fact that they didn't announce it doesn't necessarily preclude it. It still could happen, and maybe happening already. We don't know what they have planned. I really hope that they do.
Hmm. I don't think it necessarily
But
rules it
time will
out. I
tell.
really, again, I do as well. I hope they do because it really is. It's a sore eye, really. It's not appealing, especially when you're going to do this whole retheme of an area to have that theming, which does not fit at all with this new area of the park, which is called, which we haven't said yet, Jungle Expedition, which I think is a terrible name. It's Jungle Expedition. So the X is actually an X. It's not X like how it's normally spelled.
Here's the
The
thing though.
EX.
This is something that everybody seems to be missing though. That X is, I think, important
Mm-hmm.
because doesn't that kind of give you the sense of X space?
X space, like ah,
Like Area 72.
I mean, yeah, yeah, I guess, Project X, right? That's what they called it.
Well,
I
no, what is X base? Something is called X base.
at Kings Island. Are we talking about Kings Island with Orion? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know.
I think it was
I
Project.
just know something's
I
called.
have a shirt, but I can't look at it right now, and it has like some of the
Maybe that
promotional
was
thing.
maybe
There
it
was
was
something X,
Firehawks.
Project X Initiative. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that. But
So
there was an X base somewhere.
all right, well that's what I was thinking because that's what I have on my shirt. It says Project X. So I don't know
My
about X
point
space,
is,
but
I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. I don't know. I for some reason in my mind there's like this loose connection between
possibly. I mean, Cedar
like
Fair
the
does
Flight
seem to
of
like to do
Fears
that.
are kind of like tying them together somehow.
Yeah,
I,
they
I
should-
don't I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. But the thing that really bugs me is, as you know, like this was literally just announced only a few hours ago officially. But last night, KD fans actually leaked the information, and we were talking about it with our friends. And Daniel had mentioned something, and he was joking, but I'm telling you, man, it has started really irritating me now as I thought about it overnight
Damn it,
because it
Daniel.
scares me that it might be right that this is kind of this very well could be leading into something like a frontier or forbidden frontier type attraction. And if I mean, what if Volcano's plot gets used for something like that?
Hmm.
It just if you think about that type of attraction and you read the announcement,
Hmm.
it really feels like that fits in the future.
Yeah. So this
Uh,
does dismiss and kind of reject one hypothesis that was really scaring you, the Camp Snoopy, but it doesn't. Right when one goes, is done, and we've kind of gotten rid of that. Another one arises out of the ashes, and we got now it's you're thinking it's going to be one of those walkthrough attractions.
I don't know what to think. I just like it scares me that it could fit.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it you know
Yeah. I mean,
it
and you didn't really think. I don't think you honestly thought Camp Snoopy was like a
oh
very, very
no,
high
no, I didn't.
possibility,
That was
but the same way with that kind of. I mean, you don't think it, but I mean, what if? What if there's the 1% little slim margin it happens? Oh man. So this is a weird theme, I think. So it's about all the temples that we were seeing obviously had correlations with animals. There was the snake temple, there was the monkey temple, there was all of these different temples we were being shown, and that's kind of what this area is being themed around. It's like this archaeologist, this kind of professor, has gone around this Amazon jungle and discovered all of these ancient ruins. And they were all built by humans. They're all temples built by humans that like worshipped animals, and like the concept is the animals like possessed all of the individuals that entered the temple. So it's a bit of an odd area theme. I feel like this is more like a ride theme to me, but they're going for like the whole area will be this theme of like I guess different temples. So they'll have to stick with us. I think this isn't something that you can really like with Candy Apple Grove, with Safari Village, like we see right now. It's pretty easy to just overlay a new theme into those areas. But I feel like once you have committed to the this kind of odd different theme of an entire area, this is something they're going to have to stick with forever. I mean, this can't just be, you can't just overlay a whole new thing onto it if it's like all these ancient temples and all that.
except you're missing the fact that this is basically an overlay on top of Safari Village. So,
Well, it
um,
is, but it's what I think and what KD fans is predicting is that like the more they're going to keep adding new rides and they're all going to have to go along with this.
yeah,
So I think as they
I think that's going to be
go,
the case.
5, 10 years, we start seeing a little bit more theming and a little bit more
See, that's the thing.
additions.
I don't think it has to be rides. I think attractions is the key. Like, I mean, walk through attractions count. I'm not saying that's what's
Sure,
happening. I'm
but
just saying that doesn't mean that we're not going to see that type of stuff.
But I just think this
You
is
know, I
unusual. It's an unusual theme, so I think it might be difficult in the future for them to kind of erase. It's not Safari Village. I mean, after you committed to this weird, the animal tombs and like all that, like I don't know. I just think it's going to be difficult to kind of, if need be, in a couple of years, like oh well, let's actually go this direction with this area. Going to be kind of difficult to be like oh well, we're no longer using
you
the
just
Jungle X.
find a way to fit it in. They'll find a way to fit it in the theme. But
All these temples, they're not actually. Yeah.
that's the thing with Kane's Dominion is I don't like there's that part of me that's like what I think Cedar Fair has actually realized they've made a huge mistake in removing Volcano, and they're actually that's why things got postponed and changed. They're like, okay, we have to do something big, and they're working on doing that. But then there's that other half of me that says this is still Cedar Fair that doesn't want to spend major capital investments on um, rides. They want to do more of the experience type thing. So I don't know which way it's going to go. Um, it's anybody's guess really. But we still haven't talked about the monkey flip,
Yeah, the
which
new.
we still need to do.
So the major announcement, really, I think more so than the Project X area, is the free spin. So Tumbala, it's like Tumbalala. I don't know how to really say it. I looked it up. I swear,
Tumbili?
it's in Swahili.
That was Tumbili.
Tumbili. I don't know. I think it's pronounced a little different than how everyone's pronouncing it. Because I looked it up on like Translate, and it was a bit more Swahili. Let's just say that. But this word means monkey in the African language of Swahili. So yeah, so this is going to be the monkey temple, and people have already began the memes with it. A lot of monkey memes I've been seeing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, It's gonna be a fun ride, I know, and I'm actually surprised at the detail that they're going to the lengths of theming this ride with. You have a lot of structure around the ride that doesn't really need to be there, but is, and that's great. It's great to see because even for something such as small as a 40 free spin, we're getting some pretty nice theming. And even more than a lot of people are joking around, honestly, it's kind of true though. It's more than what we're seeing with Pantheon, most likely. So,
I
which
know,
is
like
odd.
it's weird. There's some weird stuff going on, man.
Yeah,
It's like, man, everything changed. That's just like I don't even know what park chain I would say is good anymore. Like I, I just don't know,
I just
man.
hate amusement parks.
Everything
I'm just kidding.
changed, and like there's no definition in anything anymore.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, the very last piece of information we were given from the announcement is that Outer Hanks, the restaurant located really adjacent to where Crypt used to be and where Volcano once was, is now going to be rebranded and rethemed as a base camp. So think about it. I mean, you're kind of an archaeologist, you're a scientist, you're going out and you're doing these expeditions. You need a base camp. So that's kind of what they're saying. This is now. So that's where you're gonna get your food from now on, which is good to hear. Outer Hanks has really I think we talked about it on the show. It took a dive for the worst in these past couple of years. I remember
Uh,
3 or 4 years
all of
ago.
King's Dominion's food has taken a dive for the worse.
Well, apparently not actually. Grain and Grill is supposed to be excellent right now, which is
That's
great.
because that's the new one.
Yeah,
It's
apparently
gonna
they brought
like
in
next
like
year.
chefs and everything to come in and actually.
Well,
Uh,
yeah. So see, this is this is my fear now. Now, not only will Kings Island be talking about this stupid chef's plate on Twitter, King's Dominion will be doing it, and it's going to be all about the chef's plate. If it's
well,
not 10 best, it's going to be the chef's plate.
they have
I'm
they
tired.
have the chefs right now at Grain and Grill, and I don't know if we've been seeing it as much as Kings
That's
Island,
true. Do
but
they have a chef's plate though?
I don't
That's
know.
the
I don't
thing.
know. Are we going to see that at the base camp? But
I
yeah,
don't
so
know.
Outer Hanks food has gotten very poor. It's become awful, honestly. I used to go there. That used to be my go-to place. I think you remember that. Remember we used to go there quite often when we went to King's Dominion.
I went there one time and I never went there again because you were like, "Oh, it's so good," and it was like the worst experience of my
I'm pretty sure
life.
I took you there more than once, but
Oh no, I did not go there more than once.
all right.
I
Well, if you
assure you, I
didn't,
did not
then
go there
I
more than
definitely did
once.
with Timmy and Alex and everybody else. We went a couple of times. Um, but after about 3 or 4 years ago, I just couldn't keep going there. The food got really bad, and yeah, so that is what's going on at King's Dominion in the Safari Village, soon to be expedition or jungle expedition. We're getting a new free spin, which no shocker, it's in the parking lot. We've known that for months. It's not going to Michigan's Adventure though, like Bob once thought.
I
Yeah,
never actually
no,
thought that.
no. Uh,
I said that. I never actually thought that.
no, I thought you were pretty serious. No,
I was not serious.
no, I know. Okay, so staying within the Cedar Fair chain, but heading up north over to Ohio and Sandusky, Cedar Point is bringing back the $99 sale for their Gold Pass.
Which, wasn't this what started the pandemic?
It is. It's what capped it off right there. Yeah, initiated it.
Yeah. This I don't know what I don't know what Cedar Fair is doing. I don't understand this. Like I Cedar Point's so miserable. Like lowering the price just doesn't seem like the right move.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
you're gonna get a ton of people now, aren't you? I mean, that's
I mean, they did.
and they did. Yeah,
Even with the pandemic, like people were
exactly.
like
And you're gonna get
it's
now
just
with this return to somewhat normality. It seems well. One can argue whether or not we're heading back towards whatever direction you think, but with right now we're kind of in this buffer zone where it seems like we might be heading back to normality a bit. Is that? I mean, you're going to get a lot of purchases. I feel like people are ready to go back to parks still. That kind of notion is still in the air. Like, let's get back to parks. I feel like they're going to get a ton of sales from this, and that's going to suck for a lot of people going to Cedar Point. I know.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. This is another issue of, I think, Cedar Point prioritizing income over guest experience. And I'm not saying that, oh, they should just ignore income altogether.
No.
But what I'm saying is you can't just expect to continue to bring income if you don't keep the guest experience up.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Having 1 million dissatisfied people or 500,000 happy, I mean, you know, it affects your business long term. Not even like in the short term, it might be great to have a $99 Salinger pass.
and
But in
that's
the
what
years
this
to
is going to
come,
be.
you know, that could affect you. All these people that are coming are going to go and have an awful experience and not want to return again. So, yeah.
This was the first time. I mean, I've been saying for a while, Cedar Point is in a tough position, and they're going to start struggling. And it's for years I've been saying that, and I've always felt like I was the only person saying that. But I'll tell you what, this year I have really heard a lot of people say, you know what, Cedar Point isn't what it used to be. It's not really my favorite Cedar Fair park anymore. It's not my favorite park period anymore. Like I've just heard, I'm not saying everybody's saying that, but I've heard many more people say that this year. And it boils down to this guest experience. They've had so many issues with how their guests are treated and the struggles that you go through at the park. And I just feel like this is kind of, I don't know, making that whole situation worse. I don't know for sure.
I think it's become more
really hard
common
say.
to hear that notion
Yeah.
of the enthusiast community kind of saying, "Oh, well, Cedar Point isn't the greatest, isn't." I mean, I didn't have the greatest experience when I went. I still kind of blame that on the opening weekend, but yeah, I mean, I agree that the guest experience isn't always the greatest at Cedar Point, and that sucks because it should be. It's one of the greatest parks. Like on paper, if you look at it on paper, it is one of the best parks that you can visit, especially as an enthusiast. So if you don't come away from that, even I mean, again, we're enthusiasts. We are ecstatic and obsessed with roller coasters. If we can't come away from the parks, especially Cedar Point, like thrilled and happy and excited, like how do you think the regular guests are going to come away from that? Like we should
Yeah.
be always coming from Cedar Point going, awesome, great time. And if you're not, as an enthusiast, I feel like that's an issue as well. Because we typically, although there are the few vocal entitled enthusiasts that demand so much from parks, even like that already give a great experience, like Holiday World or whatever, independent parks or even some chain parks that always provide a good experience. I think if Cedar Point can't deliver that kind of experience where we like those of us that aren't really entitled can't come away from it just having a great time, then I think there's an issue because we're supposed to be the ones that always love parks no matter what. That's just our thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what this does. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like Cedar Fair is going the way of Six Flags, and Six Flags is kind of going more Cedar Fair. I mean, let's look at it this way. Cedar Fair's big announcement so far is a clone force free spin, and a major announcement out of Six Flags is a B&M dive coaster. So there's something. The rules have changed here.
Something ain't right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. Locally, actually, right up the road from my house, something fun is occurring. Funland of Fredericksburg is announced, or not really announced, but they're in the talks, especially now with a manufacturer, I would believe, to produce a new drop ride, a 130-foot drop ride that actually just got approved by the city council.
Do we know that it's a drop ride?
Yes. I mean...
Oh, it does say drop tower ride. Okay, I thought it said tower ride.
No.
But no, it does say drop tower ride.
And there's an image of it.
So now this is not anything from the park. This is basically from Fredericksburg City Council. So
yeah. So this is
we don't know what the thought process is or any real information other than
130 foot.
Yeah, they're getting 135
foot actually.
35-foot waiver. So.
It originally was supposed to be, I believe, 155, but
No, no. The waiver was supposed to be. They were going to make the waiver 155 as it applies to all of the that area of Fredericksburg. And the reason why that was the thought was somebody had mentioned, well, hey, what if Top Golf comes to this area and Top Golf requires apparently 150 feet. So the council was going to make that a matter of law that 155 feet was the
you can tell that
special
you read
waiver
this more than I did.
access.
Even though I
Yes.
was the one that sent this to you. That's pretty great.
So that was the only reason why they were going to consider doing that, the 155
I did
foot
read why it wasn't
into
approved,
law.
though. It was not approved because it violated some sort of agreement or like former like law that said that no structure should be tall enough to be viewed from the Rappahannock River. I believe.
Yes.
So that's why that didn't come to be.
Yes, they decided to stick with the 135 foot because of that. But that actually had nothing to do with the drop tower ride. That was just the city council considering something else.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty great. I mean, Funland of Fredericksburg needs definitely a little bit of a bigger attraction. I mean, they always, we have a roller coaster. Yeah, it's the SBF Visa. That serves its purpose for sure, but they really don't have a major thrill ride, I feel. The go-karts really are, I don't know if I would consider this major thrill still. Like, they're definitely a fun attraction that people come to do and experience, especially because it's the only multi-level. But this is definitely a good addition, most definitely.
I think one of the biggest takeaways from the article was, to me, kind of a read between the lines thing. They had actually mentioned that there is a plan to basically redevelop that entire Central Park area.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking that this might mean Funland might get some more land out of this.
Indeed, more room to expand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, this is something down the road. There's nothing set in stone, but just the way I read it, I kind of got that vibe that, because they mentioned, people on the council actually mentioned, like, this is the way we're going. A lot of these types of entertainment venues are going to be taking over a lot of the retail.
Yeah.
So I just feel like they might go in that direction and try to find a way to get Funland more land.
Indeed, which would be great because
and here's the other
as
thing.
we know,
they're not going to build a drop tower like right now. All other than the go-kart track, like all of the rides can basically be moved. If they build this drop tower, like that's
a permanent installation.
That's a permanent installation. They can't really move that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes me think that there's something there that's saying, okay, we're going to be here for a while. And I don't think they'd know for sure that they're going to be there for a while if they didn't know they weren't going to get more land.
Yeah. Because, to go along with your point, what I was going to say is actually that we always know that Clint always, whenever we ask him, I think we've asked him on the show a few times when he's come on. We've asked him when we do events with him, when are you getting that GCI Wooden or that Gravity Group family coaster, one of those two? When are you going to get that? And his response is always, well, we don't have enough land, we don't have enough area, we don't have parking space. So I think that this could be not obviously at all short term. Like we're not talking like 5 years. We're talking way out. I think this could be the path towards not necessarily a GCI or Gravity Group because we all want it, but maybe something of that nature. A larger ride, larger attractions in general. Not even just a roller coaster, but maybe something else.
Clint's gonna find a way to get a roller coaster there. It may take him years, but he's gonna find a way to do it.
I mean, they got one.
Yes, but I mean, a real roller coaster.
You're gonna call him out like that? I didn't want to call him out like that.
Not one you can like put in a suitcase and take somewhere with you.
Yeah, I can take it with me when I go on my trip. Yeah. All right, well, back to the big chains. SeaWorld. SeaWorld, oh, SeaWorld.
Imagine this one.
Yeah, the COO, Tom Ivan, who we talked about weeks ago, like maybe more than that, but it feels like weeks ago. I'm gonna exaggerate. I'm gonna use a hyperbole. Weeks ago.
It had to. It was less than 8 weeks ago because he was only in the job for 40 days.
Yeah, had to be less than 8 weeks, most definitely. But I'm just gonna say weeks. He's resigning, personal reasons, he states. But we talked about him because he was a part of the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation. And that was a big deal. A lot of people were talking about, oh, what is he going to bring to the table to SeaWorld? Are we going to see him implement new strategies, new things? And no, not really. Probably there was a joke going around that his main objective was to secure a ride on Iron Gwazi and then resign. So that's all I did. He rode Iron Gwazi once and was like, all right, I've had my share of SeaWorld. So yeah, the COO, Tom Ivan, is no longer. He is effective this Thursday. So this coming Thursday. I don't think it's actually the Thursday of like right now, but this coming Thursday, he will be no longer a part of the company.
I think it's Friday. I thought it was the 20th.
Is it Friday? Yeah, they said effective Thursday, but all right. Yeah, maybe it's the 20th.
Maybe Thursday is his last day and 20. I don't know. Either way.
It's
give or take
in a week from today. He'll be pretty much done. Yeah, he'll be gone. So, yeah.
What the hell is going on at SeaWorld?
I don't know, yeah.
They can't keep
there has to be
executives.
something. I mean, you got to think 40 days. There's got to be something pretty crucial happening.
And it's not like this is a new thing. That's the thing. It's not like this. This is constantly happening with them. They get executives, and then the executives are like, "Oh, we're leaving for personal reasons." Like, what is going on in that boardroom? SeaWorld's broken. I mean, their parks might be great, and they might have some really great lawn ornaments, but corporate is broken. Something is wrong in that place. Something is seriously wrong in that place.
Something is wrong because you can't deny it. I mean, nobody can deny it. If you're looking at their history now, I mean, this is gonna happen. Well, they actually have a list here at the bottom of the article, I think. April of 2020, the chief executive officer, Sergio Rivera, resigned. Gustavo Anchura resigned. I mean, those are just two of the chief executive officers that they have leaving, and there was more we've talked about. We talked about COOs and CFOs. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of change, a lot of departures from the company in the past 2 years. Really, I don't know what's happening, but it's definitely something, and it's something that it seems every single executive realizes as soon as they get in the doors, pretty much.
Yeah, it's unreal.
It really is. It's quite.
I do
it's
think
quite concerning.
It
really is concerning.
It is. There's stuff wrong, man. I mean, there's clearly stuff wrong. I mean, it's not even just the executives. They're just. I mean, that's a point too. I mean, I understand the business perspective of it. That makes sense. But at the same time, they are still screwing their pass holders. There's still an image that, is cast.
Yeah.
From a financial standpoint, yes, I understand why they're keeping them closed. But I mean, it's just a mess. It's just a complete mess.
Indeed, it's a mess.
So, James, I have to ask you, were you getting really concerned that, all of these events were coming to Cedar Fair Parks and Monster Jam wasn't coming?
And I was so sad.
You were, I know. It was like, what? How am I gonna
visited together and we got to see the monster trucks? That was so fun.
How am I gonna get my monster truck fixed? Aside from the fact that I drive right past a couple of them on my way to the Outer Banks, how am I gonna get that fixed? Don't worry anymore, James. It's coming back to Carowinds.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. Wow. I'm
And it's
overjoyed.
all new. It's all new.
It is.
I don't know when. It's Saturdays and Sundays, September 11th through October 10th, 11 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Which is interesting to
It's
me because
free with park
that is
admission.
also a part of their Halloween season. So they're gonna have two events occurring at one time.
Well,
Um,
that would be, I'm sure that's why it's 11 a.m. till 5 p.m.
yeah, yeah. I just think it's interesting that they're gonna be having those both. Typically, what would happen is it would be like Grand Carnival, Monster Jam, then Halloween Haunt, or they call it Scarowinds there. You know, like that's typically the progression of events. It's I've never seen them do like two large scale events at the same time. It's interesting. I mean, I'm sure there's a benefit to it because you get the crowds coming in for Monster Jam and the crowds coming in for Scarowinds. But I've just never seen a park actually do like two major events at once like this, which it's an interesting tactic. Um, but yeah, Bob, you get to drive your own little, or you get to drive along with a monster truck driver, just like they did at King's Dominion. So you get to get one of those and drive around. You get to see all of the props that they have. They have like some of the I don't know if they're the originals. I don't think they were the originals, but they're like replicas of the original, like Gravedigger and all the common named. Um,
Well, I mean, those aren't, there's multiples of each of those,
El
I
Toro
believe.
Loco.
Yes, El Toro.
Yeah.
El Toro at Carowinds.
Yep. El Toro Carowinds will be operational. Whether or not the One a Great Adventure will be, we don't know. Um, so, yep, it's back and better than ever. Yeah, that's one of the. I mean, I was okay with Grand Carnival, but I was like, thank God we saw the end of that. That sucked, and then they're like, nope,
You, you
jokes
know
on
what
you.
though? I think this actually fits more, I think. The way they're doing this, like before Haunt, because this is actually a good thing to do during the day before Haunt begins.
But I mean, it wasn't really think about it back when we went. I mean, it wasn't really something that you did after like the. I think it might have closed early even then.
I don't remember.
I think it did. I
I
don't think
don't
it
know
went
if
all
did
day.
it?
No, I don't
I
think it
don't
went all
know.
day and all night.
I didn't actually do any of the experiences. I mean,
No,
I
I didn't
walked around
either,
and saw
but
it,
I
but
walked
like
around with you, and we walked around. Yeah, but I think there was. I think it closed at a specific point. Anyway, so yeah, I
I
don't know.
don't remember. I kind of felt it was open later than 5, but I think this fits better than what they were trying to do before, and this kind of I think this kind of makes more sense for them to try to like it seems like they're like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't successful, but maybe if we reimagine it, let's try it at Carowinds and see how it goes.
I mean, you got to
Um,
imagine Carowinds is probably their biggest market for this too. I mean, that's right down there in the south. I mean, that's where a lot of this monster truck appeal is anyway. So I think that's a smart park to put it at. Definitely. I mean,
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, well, I know Gravedigger is in North Carolina.
exactly. So I mean,
That's what I pass where Gravedigger's from on the way to Outer Banks, which yeah. So I mean, well, it's still a drive, but like closer than other parks. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes and see if it comes back in 2022. That'll be the real test.
to the other
If
parks
it
too.
just
Yeah, not just
disappears
to Carowinds.
forever, yeah.
Let's see. I would be so grateful if they just never touch this event again, but we shall see. Yeah, we'll see how it goes this year. So Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Lastly, we've really covered some ground with them. They've had a lot going on at their park this year, but this is not something I would have expected from them. Honestly, this is not something that typically occurs at the park. There was a fight at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, a large fight too, not just one little tiny fight. This was a pretty big fight. It actually sent 3 people to the hospital. Um,
Yeah.
it's
I'm
very
still wondering if this was a result of line jumping or what. I don't know. I don't understand how this all came about.
yeah. I'm not sure either. Um, I mean that's what it says. I think in the article.
No, it doesn't say. It says it was happened in a queue line, but it doesn't actually say.
I love in the article it's annotating. It says the woman in the SpongeBob SquarePants shirt. Oh man, that was funny. I did not expect to see his name in that little clip here, but yeah, yeah. This is surprising. I don't really know what it's a result of, but it is definitely a very violent fight. I mean, there's people choking one another. There's people hitting each other. I think one of the women has a cane. I mean, they're punching one another. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And this was Griffin. If did we mention that? This is the line for Griffin. If anyone was unaware. Yeah, so it's like right by the handicap entrance too. So what I would assume, honestly, what happened, which is something that I've always thought would happen or has happened before. I don't know if you're aware, or you probably don't notice it because it's not very apparent. It's when you walk by from the exit, when you walk by the actual entrance building, there's that handicap entrance on the side, and half of the time I've walked by it, it's been wide open, and I'm like, how are there nobody? Why does nobody realize that and just go through the handicap entrance and just re-enter the line? Like I haven't thought about that. I've thought like, why hasn't anybody done that? Because I know people suck, not because like I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, you should do that. But like I'm like, how has nobody ever like, how has that not been prevented from happening? Because it's pretty easy to just walk right back into line via the handicap entrance. I wouldn't be shocked if that's actually what happened, because that's right where this fight is occurring. Like
But yeah,
somebody,
but they still have to let you on the coaster.
they no, they don't. I mean, you could go under the rail. There's a little rail there, and you could just go walk right underneath that. So
Well, then that's line jumping.
exactly, and I'm thinking that's probably what occurred. Possibly, like a woman or somebody came through and tried to
Maybe I.
re-enter the line via that handicapped entrance, because that's again right where this is occurring at. I mean, had to be something like that, I think. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't really either. I'm just putting my best guess out there. All right, well, that about does it for this half of the show, the news segment of the show. Trust us, we know that there's a big one coming, and we're actually going to cover that in the second half of the show. So we've talked about everything except, I know everyone knows, Wicked Twister's removal. That's what we're going to be talking about in the second half of the show, as well as an update on the Kosher Talk Podcast photo contest and our weekly poll. So we'll talk about all that in the second half, right after this break.
Yay.
I'm honestly thinking that's what happened now that I'm looking at this video more in depth.
I very well could be.
I've always, I swear, last time I was there the other week when I went to go see Spark, I rode it and I walked past and that thing was wide open, and I'm like, how has no one just walked through there before and just gotten back in line? Like, it's so easy. You just step right through there. Like, how has nobody done that? How has nobody gotten in trouble for it? And how has the park not realized that that's an issue? And I imagine that's probably what happened. Something
Now that you've announced to everybody, hey, guess what you can do?
I didn't recommend it. Just said you could. And I've never done it, so obviously never would do that. Why will not the video not load on my... Oh, here it is. Mm-hmm. They literally, yeah, they walked out. At the very end, they're walking out of the handicap entrance.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what happened. Something along those lines. All right, are you ready for the second half?
I think so. Ready?
Oh, 1 second. Yeah,
Three.
I'll be ready in a sec. 1 second. Like 4
Okay.
seconds. All right. Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2.
And we're back, everyone. And it's time to talk about, obviously, kind of the elephant in the room. We didn't discuss it in the first half, and that's because we purposely planned it that way. Wicked Twister at Cedar Point is closing for good. It is gone September 6th. That'll be the last ride you have. So after that, Wicked Twister will be no more.
Called it.
You did. You called
Although
it.
I don't
you
know if
called
I
it a
ever.
little
I don't know if I ever
prematurely.
actually. Well, I knew it was. I knew it was going soon. But did I actually mention it? I don't know if I actually called it on the podcast or not.
I think you might have called it a couple years ago on the show. Yeah. I think you said something like, "Oh, I think Wicked Twister." Once Volcano got removed, I think you were like, "Well, Wicked Twister might get moved to King's Dominion." So I think it might have been a couple years ago, but you
Well,
did
yeah,
mention
I did think that they were going to move it to King's Dominion. I thought that was a possibility whenever Crypt got removed, when it
Mhm.
initially when that was initially announced. But no, I was just talking. Well, actually, when we were just my family was just there a few weeks ago, and I even told Piper, I said we need to get on this ride because I told her, I said I think this is going to be its last year. I really had been feeling that. I thought that it was probably going to be removed soon, either this year or next year. So I'm not surprised.
it. Mm-hmm.
This is kind of an interesting point. There's so many different things being said about this coaster.
Yes.
And it seems like there is a following that's saying, "Oh, this is going to California's Great America."
Great America.
Great America, right?
Great
Yeah,
America.
Great America. I don't know. I don't find that very feasible.
No, I don't think that's the option, but I hope it is. I would love to see this ride live on because it's a good ride. I like it a lot, but yeah,
When was the last time you rode it? Did you ride it when you were up there
I did.
this year? To me, it felt slower. It felt like the launch was slower. It felt like it took more swings to get momentum. I don't know. I don't know. It didn't have the same punch as I
I don't know. It
remember
didn't
it
leave that
having.
impression on me. I didn't really feel that, but it's possible. I mean, I don't know. My first ride on it was in 2017 or 2016, actually. 2016. I think that's right. I think 2016. So maybe before that it was running faster. Like I never actually got to experience it at its full speed, but I feel
Yeah,
I mean,
it was. I rode it
5
many
ago.
years before that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably rode it in like 2005
Mm-hmm.
because it opened in what, 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 2001. Well, yeah, 2002, right? Yeah, I think it was 2002. It
I
was
think
right
it
before
opened.
Top Thrill
It was,
Dragster,
yeah, it was the year before Dragster because.
and it was after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
But so here's the thing. Logistically, first of all, Cedar Fair doesn't want Entenmann's. They don't want the Entenmann's that they have. So in that aspect, it's kind of hard to believe that, oh, let's move this like not real popular Intamin to another park. That doesn't make sense in itself. But the bigger thing is, it's my understanding that Wicked Twister actually has power lines running from the mainland as opposed to like connecting into
Internal
Cedar
power.
Point's
Yeah,
little
Cedar Point.
power grid. If you would, I mean, it's not really a power grid, but it actually has its own power line. The thing is that coaster requires a lot of electricity. Logistically, I can't see Cedar Fair running power infrastructure of that type for a 20-year-old roller
Of
coaster.
that capacity. Yeah.
That's not of that capacity, and that's not really that popular. The only exception, and me make this clear. I'm not saying this is happening. I'm just saying
Get your
logistically, the
notepads
only
out,
thing that
guys.
would
This is what
make
Bob said.
sense.
Quote him.
Logistically, the only place that I think they could really move this that would make sense from a logistical standpoint would be King's Dominion, and that's only because they have the power that Volcano was connected to. That's the only, like, there's less involved to move it to King's Dominion. Now, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying that that's the only way that it would make sense is if they're, moving it to a plot that already had power
Yeah.
to support LIM launch.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think this is probably getting the chopping block, and I think it's going to be utilized in a way that they supply pieces and parts and
Oh yeah, it's going to
things
Valley Fair.
for Valley Fair and for possibly Possessed Dorney if they keep Possessed
I
Dorney.
still don't know how long Possessed has.
Yeah, I don't know, but if they are trying to preserve the life of that ride at all, that'll probably go there. So I think that's what they're looking at doing with this ride. I think that's the most reasonable guess at this point. I don't see California Great America right now, but
No.
I don't know if it was Hyde or somebody on Twitter actually said there were FAA documentation showing what was it, like a large plot of land being used? Was
Well,
that what it
I don't
was?
know. There's kind of a dispute about that. Apparently, there's some
Yeah.
buildings being built nearby,
Mhm.
and that's what people were saying is actually the FAA.
Document. Yeah, I saw there
Height
was a retort
waivers,
from someone saying, "Well, that's not actually on California Great America's property." So,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I who knows? I just don't see them running that power infrastructure for that ride, especially because it's an Intamin. If it was any other manufacturer, I would probably say I'd probably be more likely to say maybe it would move. But I mean, we know that Cedar Fair doesn't like Intamin. They don't like working with Intamin as much as they try to avoid it. I mean, they got rid of Volcano to avoid working with Intamin. Um, I I just don't see it. I just don't see this moving.
Yeah, I mean,
I
and just
think
imagine
it's
the
gone.
development to for that whole ride to be moved to California Great America. I think would be well spent in other areas, and that's probably what Cedar Fair is looking at doing. So, I mean, why, like you said, spend money on a ride that isn't really a headline ride? It's not a ride that everyone loves. I mean, it's a fine ride. I like it a lot, but it's not a ride that most people really draw to. Even at like Dorney Park or at Valley Fair, it's not like the headlining ride. It's not the ride that everyone knows or loves at those parks. So why spend
Yeah.
all of that money to move and, like Bob said, implement a system, a power system that's pretty complex and demanding? Why bother?
Although, here's one other. Again, I'm not saying this is possible, but there is a plausible explanation to this happening. What if Wicked Twister moved to Dorney, and then you sent Possessed to Valley Fair for parts?
Why?
Because Valley Fair and Possessed are identical models. 100% identical. They have all of the same parts for the holding brake, everything. And Dorney gets a taller coaster out of it. And the infrastructure's there.
I feel like that's not likely. I mean, I know you're not saying that's 100% what's happening. So
I am not saying, but
I just feel like that's kind of...
Valley Fair did an overhaul on their holding brake. So it seems like Valley Fair is intent on keeping that coaster at least for a while. Possessed's holding brake has not worked, and they seem uninterested in fixing it. So the
I just feel like
parts,
it's kind of superfluous to, like, to have a new...
except that you can market it as a new ride, as a hyper impulse.
I mean,
I'm not kidding. I'm talking from a market. Yes, I think it's dumb, but that is totally the type of thinking that marketing departments use at parks.
sure, but I don't know. I don't think it like we've stated, those rides aren't necessarily the most popular anyway. So why try to?
I get Possess is kind of popular.
I don't think so. I don't think it's at all. When people talk about Dorney Park, talk about Hydra, Steel Force, Talon. Possessed is kind of left in the back burner typically. I mean, it's a fine ride. It's a fun ride. I like Possessed, but I don't really feel like it's the draw for anybody. Even just talking from a general public standpoint, either not just roller coaster enthusiasts. I don't feel like it's a draw. Just like Wicked Twister isn't really a draw at Cedar Point.
But Wicked Twister would be it would be the tallest roller coaster at Dorney, wouldn't it?
Steel Force would be taller, I believe.
I don't know. Would it?
Yes.
It's close.
It's a Steel Force is 200 or 205 or something like that. Wicked Twister's about that height as well, right? I don't know. I think
Wicked Twister is 215 feet.
215. What's Steel Force then? 200. It might be then. I think it might be taller then. Yeah.
Yes, Steel Force is 200. So it would be the tallest roller coaster at Dorney. That is a marketing position.
I just feel like it's as much as it might benefit them, it also could. I mean, from a company who seems to be taking kind of a conservative route, it seems extravagant to remove an entire ride, put the same kind of ride back in. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be.
It's not that much in the scheme of things, though. The benefits might actually outweigh those too, of having all of those parts at Valley Fair. If Valley Fair intends on keeping that holding break and everything going, that's more parts for them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not arguing that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that there's.
I think
some
it makes more
logic
sense
to
than
it.
the California Great America implementation.
It
of
absolutely
Wicked Twister.
does.
So, if there's that, then you know, that's my take on it. But I honestly think, in the scheme of things, it's just going to be removed and used for parts. Wicked Twister, sadly, because I like Wicked Twister a lot. But again, I think that's what we're looking
at. My preference would be that they just fix the holding brake on Possessed.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be ideal. So yeah, that is the end of an era for Wicked Twister, at least at Cedar Point. That plot of land, people are saying, might be used potentially for a new attraction. Might be.
And that's the other question.
Actually, yeah, or might be just actually kept to. Some people are talking about like have beach view access, kind of like so you can see the beach from the park. I don't know. I think it's an odd choice if that is what they're trying to do.
I don't know if it is.
I mean,
that's what Cedar Fair is pushing Cedar Point as a resort. They're really pushing the beach stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What better way to push it than make sure you see it?
But you see
because
it
right now
already.
you really can't see it. No, you really can't see it much from the park unless you're like at the top of something, which is only momentarily.
Or if you're walking by the Midway right now, the Wicked Twister Midway, you can see it out there.
But what's the reason to go over there?
What's the reason? If you just can see it, what's the reason to go over there? Like, what you think they're going to start? What would be the purpose of that?
They might do things over there to draw people over there.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe they might have like some beach activities and like experiences, but I don't think it's just solely going to be we remove it so you can see the beach.
Oh no! They're going to do something with that area, but it's not going to be. I
honestly wouldn't be shocked if they. I don't know. Actually, I've been thinking like maybe they'll just open it up, like then you can just walk to the beach from the park, kind of. That would be interesting. Like just. Hey, here's a little pathway down to the beach. Have fun. Like, I don't know.
It used to be that way.
Because right now it's kind of like locked off. You have to exit the park to actually go to the beach.
Yeah, and you used to be able to.
Yeah, so maybe they'll
easily get down there.
Return to that style of part, like where you can just walk right down.
But I've also thought about. I remember there being access paths, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't remember logistically how it worked.
Well, maybe we'll return to that kind of style of like pathway to the beach right there. But I honestly have always thought, now if I was in charge of development and I got like to oversee this project of removing Wicked Twister and what come, I've always thought it would be cool to have like a boardwalk, a boardwalk style area. Maybe like have it little expand out over the water a little bit out there. Um, I think that would be interesting.
I
And when
mean,
we always talk about Cedar Point being landlocked,
they have a boardwalk.
I mean they do, but I mean more like not even just boardwalk. Let me put it out. More like pier.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know what you mean.
so it's more like a pier. Like it would extend a little bit out into the water. Um, so you have like that kind of beach vibe that we're kind of looking at with the beach access anyway. You'd get to experience the beach a little bit more because you'd be walking right out onto it, kind of. Um, and I've always thought people have always talked about Cedar Point being a landlocked park. That would be the one way that they could, without really having to buy more land or do something extreme. Hey, we just build out into the water a little bit.
Oh, they've already expanded the peninsula.
Indeed, they
They've
have.
actually created more land.
Yeah, so I'm saying instead of having to do things excessive
So
like that, creating more land, you just build a little wooden pier out there and have some rides on it. I mean, I think that would be interesting. I think it would be. It would be like one of your boardwalk parks, like in New Jersey or Maryland.
But see, here's the thing. Logistically, Cedar Point is an admission park. So
Hmm.
does the beach become an admission
No, no, I think the
area?
pier is still like it's still the only access is from the park. I'm not saying I'd say like build it from the park and have it go out. So it's still a part of the park. It's just like another section now. It's like the pier area. That's our area of the park, or like the boardwalk area, like whatever they call
I
it.
do think it would be kind of cool to build a flying coaster that like dives into the lake, sort of like on the shore.
Yeah, sure. That would be interesting. There's
If they
there's a
build an
lot they could do.
attraction there, that would be an
There's a
interesting
lot
thing.
Cedar Point can do. I mean, there always is, and more than likely they won't disappoint. They always seem to add some good attractions. So I won't.
I don't know.
What are they disappointed on?
I don't. Well, Valraven.
I liked Valraven.
I the thing is I just don't think that they're going to. I, I really think they're holding true to the let's not
Do anything
have
crazy?
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not
Have
build
big
crazy
capital
rides
investments.
anymore.
Hmm.
Right. I think the only reason why I think there's a possibility that King's Dominion could get a major ride is just because Cedar Fair may have realized that they royally screwed up.
Hmm.
That's the only reason why I really think that there's a possibility of something
Yeah.
happening there.
Well, that's why I kind of think my boardwalk slash pier could come to reality because I don't think they're going to put a roller coaster out there or anything large. I think it could be small little flat rides or even maybe water rides. I don't know what they would do with it, but I think it could be something that's not necessarily overly. It's not going to be a huge cost for them necessarily, unless they do decide to put a roller coaster out there, which I don't think they would. That's not my idea. Because I'm trying to come from that aspect of they're being kind of conservative in terms of large scale projects, and they don't want to spend the money on those attractions right now. They want to, like we've talked about, stick to water parks, stick to small, like family experiences that the whole family can do.
Yeah, and a pier would cost a lot of money.
You think? But let's compare that to if we're talking a massive pier. Sure, I'm talking about a little tiny pier, and
A pier would cost a lot of
in
money.
terms of comparing it to roller coasters, it not really. I don't think.
No, I bet you the pier would cost more than a small roller coaster.
Yeah, a small roller coaster, sure, maybe.
Maybe even a bigger one.
I don't think so.
It's millions. 10, 10 million maybe.
I don't
20
know about
million
that.
maybe. I don't know. I would not be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything for sure, but I would not be surprised if a pier in itself cost more than a roller coaster.
I guess I don't know off the top of my head how much a pier costs to build, so maybe. But Now I gotta look it up. I want to see. I mean, it is wooden, and wooden is. Quality permit one runs. I don't know.
So it looks like for residential,
Mm-hmm.
oh, for not a pier, a boat dock will cost you about 27,000.
High quality permit
But
runs between 50,000 and 75,000. I don't know, but I feel like this wouldn't be a large scale. I'm not talking one of the massive fishing piers you see at like a large beach. I mean, I'm talking very small pier, just a little one that extends into the water. I wouldn't even think this would be large enough to house more than one or two flat rides. But again, I think they're willing to spend money. I just don't think they're willing to spend money on like a huge ride, like a roller coaster or a major thrill ride. I mean, they're obviously willing to spend money. They just built a large slide complex at Carowinds. They just built a new section in the water park at Kings Dominion. Like they're building this 40 free spin, sure, but that's, again, you think because they realize they messed up a bit with Volcano. That's possible, most likely the case as well. But I think they're willing to spend the money. I just don't think it's going to be on roller coasters. So even if a pier is a lot of money, I don't think it will be as much as like what a B&M flying coaster that goes into the water and But so I don't think they care about the money as much as they do like the experience. I think that's their main.
I mean, what's the point? But what's the point of a pier without buildings or without stuff on it?
There will be stuff on it, but like
right, and all of that costs money. I guarantee you're getting into the cost far above B&M.
I don't know. I don't know enough about pier construction.
Because you'd have to run infrastructure and yeah, I mean.
But it's something they could.
I don't know that for sure, but I find it hard to believe that.
I don't know if it would also start off this way as a large pier. Like I don't know if first you have buildings and shops and retail and all that on the pier. Maybe first it's just a ride or two, and then you just add on years and years to come. And it becomes
yeah, but I mean to have something that supports a ride.
I think
you're talking a lot of money.
We're
talking a lot of money.
We are talking. This is definitely a large project. I mean, that's what when I introduced it, I said I think this is a large project, but I think it's a project that they're willing to spend money on. Like again, I don't think they're not hesitant about spending money. They're just hesitant on spending money about roller coasters right now. It seems they're not seeing the benefit of adding roller coasters. Or they're not.
I think they're hesitant about spending money because the shareholders want money.
No, I mean everything they're still doing costs a lot of money. So I don't know. All their additions this year, I still think speak volume to the amount of money they're spending. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what's coming out of this. It could be absolutely nothing. It could be beach access. It could be activities on the beach. It could be a boardwalk. It could be a B&M flying coaster. Who knows? I mean, really, it's all up in the air. We'll see what Cedar Point does. It could be absolutely nothing still, though. That's probably what we're going to look at. After all of this discussion, absolutely nothing will happen. It'll just sit there.
I think that's the most likely.
I honestly do, too. But again, if I was in charge of the project, that's all I said. Hypothetically speaking, that's what I would want to see at Cedar Point is like a pier boardwalk area. All right. So that is Cedar Point with Wicked Twister. That is the update we got for you. The Photo Deck Podcast photo contest also has a bit of an update real quick. As I stated on last week's show, I said, hey, the second round's starting, and then proceeded to not initiate the second round. That is in part due to my work schedule and also because I just forgot. But mainly my work schedule kind of made me forget. So those are kind of hand in hand with each other. But actually, I will be tonight at the end of the show. Once I have somewhere to be after the show's recording. But after that, when I get home tonight, we'll be getting that up. So we will have the second round starting here very, very soon on the show. So be ready for that. That's where the audience is going to come in and narrow it down to, we're going to do 10 photos. And then the next week, the third round will be consisting of the judges voting on. So on next week's show, we'll have the winners of the second round, and then we'll have the judges come in and make their picks. So again, sorry about that. I know a lot of you were probably looking forward to that. So yeah, that's all I can say. I'm sorry. So the weekly poll for last week. Getting into this.
Yep. So
Yeah,
we have some things to talk about here.
I think we do. Defiance at Glenwood Caverns opened up, or was announced last week on the show. We talked about it, and I gave it kind of a hot take. I was very, very disappointed with it. Me, Timmy, you know who would hype me up? Who would hype me up before the show started was Airtime Mike. He had actually messaged me and had been like, "This sucks, this sucks, this sucks," and I was like, "Why does it suck?" Because I posted about it on Instagram. I said that on the show. I said, "Wow," I posted about it on Instagram. I was kind of happy about this ride, and then I looked into it, and it was only 3 elements. And then Airtime Mike messaged me and was like, "What are you talking about? This thing's three elements long. It sucks." And I'm like, "Oh wow!" And then I really got like, "What the heck is this?" So on last week's show, I gave it I was giving a hot take and was kind of bashing this ride. And I even joked, I was like, maybe Bob will like this. I haven't actually heard Bob's opinion on this, but he said he doesn't necessarily agree with me. So,
Well,
first you
yeah,
can give your
so-
take, then we'll actually introduce the poll, and then we'll see what the response is.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, listening to you complain about this coaster, all I could think of is he is arguing against every single defense of Orion that he has.
No.
Yes,
No. All right.
because Orion's like 2 elements.
Oh my God. Are you kidding?
There's like 3.
Oh my God. Orion is like 6,000 feet long. It's, airtime hills. There's
6,000 feet long.
that matters. I mean,
It's all fine.
it has a
Yeah.
drop. It has a wave turn, a turnaround, like
It's
multiple
also
airtime
over
hills,
in
a
like
helix.
3 seconds.
The ride time's like 2 minutes long, 1.5 minutes long. Come on.
All right. How long is Orion actually?
It is all right. It is 5,321 feet. So,
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
the ride time?
time wise. From
Should-
you're
should- from-
you're saying 20 seconds
It literally is 20 seconds. Defiance is
from
literally,
the drop
yeah,
to
yes,
the brakes.
we can do drop
right?
to brakes. Yes.
So how long is Orion?
All right, we can do
from
that.
Drop
It's
to
probably like
brakes?
45, 50, maybe longer.
It still sucks.
Not really. That's what most. I mean, if you look at like Twisted Timbers, is that 48 from drop to brakes. So, I mean, let's see. I'm gonna count. We're gonna do this on air. Here we go. So Ryan, here we go. 1, 2. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Defiance will be done by now.
That
21,
was the
22,
fastest
23,
counting.
24. Yeah, I'm even giving you benefit of doubt. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29,
No, that makes it
30,
longer.
31, 32. If I'm counting faster, it makes it okay. Not really. I'm not. All right, I'll restart then. If you want to.
It starts
nitpick.
at 43 seconds on this video. See where it hits the brakes.
All right, we'll do it that way if you want. I wanted to do it that way. I thought it would be more interesting, but all right. Hits the brakes at about 155 on mine. I don't know if we're looking at the same video though. Either way, that's over a minute. That's over a minute. So it's about 60 seconds long.
All right. Well, it doesn't feel that long.
Bob.
It's short. Just listening to you describe it, though, I'm like, this is literally
There's a
everything
difference between
that I
Orion and
feel.
It's
Everything
a complete
I
difference,
feel
though. I
about.
mean, you can feel that way, but it's completely different. There's a difference between having literally 3 elements and then
It's less than a minute.
okay, 55 seconds, whatever. 50 seconds.
It's about like 45, I think.
No, it's not 45, but okay. On mine, it was a lot longer than that. But whatever.
In my mind, it was shorter.
Okay.
Anyway, just listening to you describe it, it was like everything that I felt about a ride that I actually rode rather than a rendering, which that's the big thing to me is like people picking apart a ride like, oh, this isn't gonna be that good. Like you don't know what like who
I
if I
never.
told you a
Whoa.
17-second ride,
All right. Continue. Sorry.
you not picking that you were like, oh, this just doesn't you obviously haven't rode it
I
yet.
never once. I never. I don't think I ever said on the show that the ride would suck. Or I wouldn't like it or it would be bad. I said it's too short. That is most definitely a complaint that you can have before riding it. I'm not saying it's
But the
going to. It
point
could be a
is
great ride.
like
I don't know, but I'm talking about.
Top Thrill Dragster 17 seconds long and it's not too short. I'm just saying. I'm just making a point. You don't know what the surroundings are going to add to it. You don't know. You can't predict that. You don't know.
I, I, I think I know. It, it, it being on top of a mountain surely adds something to it, but I think that's kind of making it a gimmick ride a bit. Like, oh, because it's 7,000 feet in the air, it's great. Like that doesn't make a ride great to
Now,
me.
7,000 feet above sea level is nothing, but the surroundings could be something.
It could be. It very well could be, but I don't. I mean, if we're talking about terrain, sure, it's going to be a great ride. But if we're talking actual ride experience in general, like if you close your eyes and just rode it without actually seeing that scenic view, I mean, is it still a good ride? Like that's what I'm talking about, just from a purely ride
Well,
experience, not incorporating external factors
how do
really.
you? So you're saying you judge roller coasters by not theming? Theming doesn't matter.
No, I don't think I've ever once ridden a ride like Verbolten. Do I like Verbolten anymore because it's themed well? Not really. If
Oh my God.
no, I don't. Oh, sure, it has the show building, but that's kind of part of the actual ride experience. Like the theming before, like entering the queue ride, like I don't consider that.
But you're on the ride when you're in those surroundings. That's
Are you
the
talking
point.
about the show building itself? Sure, but like,
Verbolten would suck without that show building.
I don't know if it would suck.
It would be a pretty
But
bad
either that,
ride
that's
without
different. I
that
feel like
show
that's different
building.
than like just terrain in general
It's
than
but
just
no,
theming.
it's not. Look at Phantom's Revenge. Like the terrain makes the ride. I mean, a lot.
But
Okay,
also
that may have been a bad example because Phantom's Revenge would just be great
regardless. But
regardless. But
but also you got to keep in mind with Phantom's Revenge, it's like actually using the hills. Like this ride's literally just it's sitting on top of. It's not doing anything with the hills, so the train that's not actually like benefiting the ride elements. The only thing the train's doing in this is letting you get a good view. Which again, I said the one thing that I think could be improved upon this ride would be to have a holding brake at the top, and you could actually take in that view for longer. I think that would be great. Like that would be cool. But they, for some reason, wanted to have it be the steepest free fall drop to make it a record. So they didn't. They didn't allow for that. I think that would have been the best possible. Like just like when we sat on top of Shellraiser and could see the whole New York skyline for about 10, 15 seconds. That would have been great to take in this awesome view of the canyon below you. But no, you got to do a free fall drop to make it a record breaker.
yeah, can you imagine like Shellraiser without that holding brake? That thing's gonna be violent at the top. It's gonna like throw you out of your seat so much.
Nah, nah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think Shellraiser already did that though. So with the holding
Right, and
brake,
it creeped down that whole hill.
not not really. All right, Bob, I'll give it to you. I didn't, but again, I never said ride experience would be poor. I never once said that in the entire show. I said it's too short. I still stick to that. Even if the ride is fun and everyone likes it, they're just too short. It's three elements. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's like literally the shortest coaster in existence, other than like a Skyrocket 2. I get that a Skyrocket 2 consists of three elements technically.
Okay, now that I'm done playing devil's advocate, it's probably too short.
It's
I will,
ridiculously short.
I will admit it's probably too short, but you really don't
I saw
know.
a picture
It's
of the
hard to
ride and I'm like,
say.
wow, this is awesome. And then I'm
I
like, wait,
know.
wait, wait, holy shit! Like that's literally it. That is the ride. The one
All
picture I
right,
saw is the whole ride.
but I do have a big bit of beef with you from last week's episode.
a
You
big,
made it a
a
point to
big
say
bit.
that Yes, that I said that, oh, this is going to Idlewild, which I did,
No,
but
I
I
said that.
never. Well, hold on, no, hold on. Just let me finish. Let me finish. Which I did, and I thought that wasn't completely far fetched. I didn't fully believe it, but you said nothing about the other prediction I made that I was absolutely certain of that it seemed like nobody else was. That was that the record that this coaster was breaking was going to be one of the stupidest records ever.
I don't remember you saying that honestly, but if you did, you definitely called it.
I absolutely said
I
that because
believe you. I believe you said
I
that.
actually
Like I
said
believe
that
you, but I don't remember you saying it.
this is Ride Entertainment teasing this. So I guarantee you this is going to be like I don't I forget exactly what it is, but I was like something like, oh, the like tallest blue coaster in the northern hemisphere that was built under the phase of the moon or something like that.
Mm.
Like it's Ride Entertainment. And you actually even mentioned about Gerstlauer, like it seemed weird for Gerstlauer to kind of like promote it in the way they did.
Yeah.
Gerstlauer never actually did promote this. That was All Ride Entertainment that was pushing this.
Mm, yes, that is true.
And that was the big thing. I'm like, how are you missing this? It's, it's All Ride Entertainment was doing this because they love to do those
I think I brought it up like one
dumb
time
like
that
marketing
Gerstlauer
things.
teased it, but it wasn't actually Gerstlauer.
You
Yeah,
did, yeah, you did. But like, I was like, man,
because it was one little
really?
tweet that they tweeted out that was like record breaking Gerstlauer or something. Yeah, so
I mean, they may have. I mean, they probably jumped on Ride Entertainment's bandwagon because they are the distributor. Like they're supporting their distributor, but like
hmm
that was All Ride Entertainment's. But like, man, like throw them under the bus for Idlewild, but let's not mention.
I said the Idlewild thing once. I was like, I thought that was bold, but
I know, I
it
know.
wasn't like I was like, all right, Timmy, let's crack down on Bob now, making it seem like it was
No,
like, yeah,
I
no, no.
I know,
Um,
I know.
yeah. But yeah, again, I can't speak to the ride experience being terrible because I don't. If I did, maybe I was losing my mind last. Maybe I was like just going off on a tangent and just got carried away and said the ride experience would suck. I don't think I ever
you,
specifically said
you were
anything
on a
about.
tangent.
I know I kept saying it was too short, and I kept saying that by the time I took it, like I yawned, it would be over. But I didn't absolutely say that the ride would suck because I even remember saying Gerstar produces good rides. This will be probably a pretty okay ride, but it's too short. Like it will be. It's barely a ride. Even I think I even said that. Like it's barely a ride. Like it might be a good ride, but it's barely even a ride. So I mean, this thing probably will not surpass 1,000 feet. I just can't imagine it. Maybe barely ticking in more than that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it really could be. It really could be a fun ride, even though it's short. I mean, that was your whole argument to me about Orion, so you have to agree with me out of default, right?
Well, I mean, and again, I don't necessarily disagree. I never said that it wouldn't be a fun ride. I imagine it will be fun. I remember saying specifically, I will not be going to Colorado for this ride, and people keep saying that. People are like, oh, I'm going to Colorado for this ride. Why? What the hell does this? Why is
Well,
this make you
because
want
that
to
gets
go
you
all the way to
because that
Colorado?
gets you in the proximity to Lagoon.
That's literally the only like. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. But again, you had Haunted Mind Drop. That was already a ride that made me want to go to this park, and this ride is definitely not really adding any value to the park. But we asked, I'm really mad at the audience. I'm not gonna lie. I asked. I said, is Defiance a great addition for Glenwood Caverns? 20 people said no, and 47 said yes. So yeah, people think it's a great addition, which is my point. I said people think this is a great addition, and it annoys me. That's what annoys me about this whole thing is that people think it is. I'm sure if I'd left a comment section for people to reply, Mike would have said something snarky. But he did vote no. Just so let it be known. Airtime Mike definitely voted no. Um, I should have left a comment thinking about it.
I will say that my typical Gerstlauer hesitancy does
Exactly.
apply.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
did.
mentioned, like
I mentioned that
my
last
head
week. Yeah.
probably will hurt. Yeah, I know. And you were right about that. And that's the weird thing about Gerstlauer is I never really know. Like Shellraiser like killed me like the first two rides I had on, and then all of a sudden the third ride was like, that wasn't so bad. It's, and I've actually seen other people comment to that too. Like they can't understand why sometimes it's like really horrible and sometimes it's really good. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
know,
what their
man.
deal is.
I don't know. I haven't had that issue, but it sucks that is definitely a common.
You just haven't
some-
rode Shellraiser enough. Ride it a couple more times, you'll come off with a
I
headache.
think I rode it more than
eventually.
you that day, so
That's true.
So maybe about, I don't know. But yeah, you guys disappointed me with the responses there. How can you classify this as a great addition? I mean, I don't know. I can't see great describing this ride in any capacity, any shape, any form. Like it's just not what I
I
would
mean,
consider great.
it's a roller coaster and it's not a dive. That's a great addition.
I guess.
That's the
I
only
guess
qualification.
we've been
It can't be
so
a dive. That's
been so stripped away of like our typical years of like a bunch of additions of roller coasters at all these parks that we're just now considering anything great. I mean, so you get something like this and people are like, oh, it's awesome, it's amazing, it's fantastic.
you got. I mean, that's the other thing too. Is you have to consider where it's going. If you put this at Cedar Point, I would tell you right now, it's the dumbest coaster ever built. If this was at Cedar Point, but you put this at a smaller park.
Nope, I still think anywhere else other than Glenwood Caverns, it would be considered a bad addition. I think because people are looking at it from this scenic view point, people are going, "Oh, it's great." Just because, but like literally anything you put up there, I think would be considered great then, because I mean it's about the view. So any ride you put up there that ascends the lift and you get to see the view, everyone's like, "Oh, that's great, that's awesome." So that's why I'm kind of saying like, please don't take that in consideration, because just from an actual ride standpoint, it's not that great. Obviously, if you put anything up there, you're going to get a great view, and it's, I mean,
Well,
it's
the drop is steeper than the lift, or higher than the lift. There's a further drop.
It's
than the lift.
It's 75
So-
feet tall and it's a 110-foot drop.
So you're obviously in some kind of terrain situation.
I think what happens
It's not
is
like
it's like a tiny little like incline, and they just I think they might even dug it out a little bit, because if you look in the rendering, you kind of see it looks like it's been hollowed out a bit. So I don't know.
Honest to God, if Kings Island started a trend, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what's going on with Defiance. You know my take. You know Bob's take now. You know Timmy's take even, because Timmy got to. And we know your take now in the audience. 47 of you are not nice, and 20 of you are awesome. No. So the next week's weekly poll is actually going to be related to Wicked Twister, the story of this week. Is it going to be scrapped or relocated? What do you guys think? Is it going to California's Great America? Is it going to King's Dominion? Is it going to Dorney Park? Or is it gone, and is it going to be used for parts? What are we looking at here, guys? That's what you guys can tell us for next week's show. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's show. If you want to follow us on social media, you can do so by going to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. It's all at Coaster Talk Pod. That's our username on all of those platforms. If you want to answer the poll, which I just stated again is Wicked Twister being scrapped or relocated, coastertalkpodcast.com/poll, or you can contact us, coastertalkpodcast.com/contact, as well, if you want to leave like an audio file with the show and that. Let me re-record that. That was not what I meant to say at all. Goddamn. Woo! I try to correct myself, and I go like down the wrong path. I'm like, fuck, how do I get out of this?
I'm just gonna end my audio.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's show. If you want to follow
right.
us, yeah. This week's poll is actually going to be related to Wicked Twister. So thank you guys so much for listening to this week's show. If you want to answer this week's weekly poll, which again, Wicked Twister being scrapped or relocated, follow us. Follow us. Oh man. So if you want to, nope, that's not what I'm going to say. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Coaster Talk Podcast. It was good to have Bob back on and have a normal show going here. If you want to answer this week's weekly poll, go to coastertalkpodcast.com/poll. If you want to do so on social media, because we will post the poll there, but we also have other great content on those channels as well. You can follow us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Coaster Talk Pod. YouTube, Coaster Talk Podcast, where you can subscribe to the channel. We have videos on an irregular schedule, but they're there every once in a while. We do get to post them, and we do our live streams there as well. Contact us, coastertalkpodcast.com, or email us, james@coastertalkpodcast.com, or bob@coastertalkpodcast.com with any comments, questions, or concerns, or if you want to leave an audio file with us to be played on the show. We'll incorporate that into our show. coastertalkpodcast.com/shop is where you can find our merchandise. And it's cheap, and it's good, I think, quality merch. So check it out if you want to give us any type of free marketing at the parks, as we'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. The next time you hear from me, I will be in California. So that's exciting. We'll see you guys then in the next week's show.
So I was right. The Kings Island area with Flight of Fear was called X-Base.
Okay. I should have known that, actually, because everyone knows that, kind of. It's kind of what they
You
call it.
argued with me.
I didn't argue with you. I said I don't remember. I
No. Well, so
I did not argue. I never said, no, Bob, I said, I remember Project X. I don't remember, like, X Space. And you're like, well, there's X Space.
no,
like,
you didn't argue.
Jesus. I argue, but I'm not that much. Jeez. I'll argue with you about me arguing with you.
You didn't argue with me, but you did.
Which you just did now. All right. Well, yeah, I got to head out. I gotta go.
What if they are doing the X to somehow include Flight of Fear?
Oh man. I mean, maybe I don't know. I think you're thinking about it too much, but it's possible.
Honestly, though, like I was thinking of something. The fact that King's Dominion has basically stripped all of the thematics
Mm-hmm.
of Flight of Fear. It's not as big of a step to retheme that as like the Kings Island one. I don't think that's gonna happen though.
You said, sorry, you got to restate that because I just got a message from somebody. You were talking about the stripping the thematics?
I said, well, yeah, King's Dominion doesn't have much of the decorations left in Flight of Fear. So you're talking about just a different facade, and
I love that you said that because today, not to interrupt you, somebody posted on social media that Flight of Fear has better theming than Verbolten, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? A King's Dominion too, not the King's Island one, the King's Dominion one.
oh my god,
Like even the King's Island one doesn't either, but I guess that one can be argued a little bit better. Not at all, really, in my opinion. But
I mean, Q Line, yes, King's Island's Flight of Fear blows Verbolten away, I think, but not Ride.
overall, no, I don't agree. I think the queue for Verbolten is very well themed as well.
It is, but I don't know. Well, I like Flight of Fear better just because of the show type thing. It's not just static decorations. It's actually something going on. It's really, really well done.
It is good for sure. All right, well,
I think it's ridiculous that King's Dominion got rid of theirs.
all right, I gotta go, guys. So we got through a stream in like less than an hour. Or less than 2 hours. So that's kind of impressive.
It is.
But I guess it's good to know that we can do it if we really need to.
Actually, this was fast. This was shorter than you and Timmy.
I know, which is crazy because me and Timmy typically was like 30 minutes, we're done. That's it. Last week we actually had some good discussion. All right,
Yep,
guys.
we
So
did.
thank you guys so much for listening or watching the live stream. We'll see you. Oh, we won't do a live stream next week actually because of my location. I don't think I can set that up. I don't think it will.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we'll see you in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for a show next week to come out. Obviously, next Sunday. It'll be an odd one. I don't know where I'm gonna be when I'm recording it. That's the fun part. It's gonna be. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm definitely gonna do it. So there will be a show next week. but I just got to figure out where I'm going to be. All right. See you guys.
This should be fun. See you guys.